coverage of Monster Energy AMA Supercross is brought to you in high definition. James Stewart, the current points leader, and the reigning champion, Chad Reed, in the midst of one of the best championship fights we've ever seen on the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship, an FIM World Championship. Rice Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, right at the base of the beautiful Wasatch Mountains, the site of the penultimate round for 2009. Hi everybody, Ralph Shaheen alongside former Supercross champion Jeff Emig, Aaron Bates joining us as well, and there you see him, the 2007 champion James Stewart, looking to win his second title of the year. But the Australian Chad Reed give him everything he can handle.
Yeah, but if I'm James Stewart, I feel really good after last week. 3-point lead coming in, as you can see here, and he really has been the fastest rider of the season. Had a couple of bad races, but what a weight off his shoulders it has to be to have this points lead at this point of the season.
James Stewart is ready to go at the line.
Pulls a couple tear-offs there, get them out of the way, go through your routine for your start, because I really believe that if you have a routine, for the before the drop of the gate, that breeds your confidence, allows you to have better starts.
You see the 30-second board is up in the air. We will have for you highlights of heat number 1 shortly here on our CBS coverage from Salt Lake City.
Well, you can see a little bit of mud there in front of the starting gate as you see some of the ruts just on the other side of the gate. We've had some rain here, but track's in really good condition.
There's our Thor starting grid across the top of your screen. Names like Josh Grant, the winner in Anaheim 1. Kevin Windham, the great veteran rider in this heat as well. Here we go from Salt Lake.
Wow, how about that start from the outside?
And how about not a good start for James Stewart as he's trapped in the pack a little bit.
Everyone's getting shuffled around.
Oh, Kevin Windham! Windham goes down as Canary had gotten the early hole shot on the 52, then dropped back. Windham had the lead, the veteran rider, and a mistake you're not used to seeing out of Kevin Windham.
Yeah, and that's Bowers in second. Josh Grant, winner of the opening round this season, in second. He's had some phenomenal rides. How about Canary, though? Grabbing the hole shot here in Salt Lake.
And Stewart buried deeper in the pack, Jeff. And that's important because the top 9 riders will transfer straight to the main. And it looks like Stewart right now is about 6th position. So he's in a transfer spot, but not where he wants to be.
Watch Windham here with the start around the second turn and just gets his balance off. Watch, he goes to turn down into the rut, turns down a little bit too much as the rear wheel slides out and the front wheel just caught. And he went down quickly. That happened fast. But now here's James Stewart just behind Ivan Tedesco there as they work on Chisholm.
Tedesco on the factory Honda, the Red Bull machine.
And here's teammates here, the 38 of Chisholm.
That's James Stewart's teammate on the San Manuel Yamahas. And Stewart comes alongside. Oh, and Chisholm cuts him off. And Stewart blows by through the whoops. That's for 5th. Stewart gets rid of the tear-off, cleans his view.
Now watch what Stewart's doing. Oh, we just missed
Josh
it.
Grant for the lead. The number 33, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota back to Yamaha to the front of the field now. And Grant going for his second heat race win of the year.
Grant's one of those riders. He really has, he's an electric type of rider. He's got some attitude. He rides, some incredible laps. He's not afraid to jump all the big obstacles. That's what put him in the position to win the opening round. He sure would like to back that up with a win here at the end of the season.
Oh boy, he's off the bike, Jeff, and he's got to do everything he can to hang on to it, and he gets up into the tuck blocks, and Grant is down in front of the field, and right out of a transfer position. He's dropping quickly. And now Grant is looking at the fact that he's going to have to go to last chance qualifier, and here comes Stewart. That puts him up to the front. He's into the lead. So James Stewart, who had gotten such a terrible start at the beginning of this, Jeff, goes now for what would be his 15th heat race win of the year.
Well, he certainly knows how to work his way through the pack, and the heat race really is kind of the sprint race, okay, the speed race.
Yeah, it's only
nobody on the track has more speed than Stewart on any given night, but heartbreaking there for Josh Grant. And as we watch James Stewart come through, let's watch him go across the whoops here, which is a very difficult section here. There's a lot of wheel spin, and the bike does not drive across. See, Grant gets that huckabuck there and then gets off the right side of the bike. Take a look at this. Our second look here. See, he puts his foot down, and then the bike just scoots out to the left under him.
And he took a beating as
And that was close. You see the rear wheel spinning. Luckily, the engine stalled because that bike was right on top of him. That could have been dangerous.
Well, and also he was taking a beating, too, as the handlebars kept hitting him in the face.
Looked more like a rodeo rider there.
Yeah,
Right?
sure did. Sure did. And the handlebars, the horns of that bull. So Stewart now out front. There you see Ivan Tedesco up to second place. And Tedesco, one of those riders coming on strong here in the last couple of weeks with a sixth, a fifth, and a ninth in the last 4 rounds.
He certainly had a great heat race last week, backing it up here with a fine ride here on what is turning out to be a pretty difficult track. Like I said, in sections, looks like it's really tight. Right, not much wheel spin, but all around that third, fourth turn there, all the whoops, not any traction. You can see Bowers here. He's another rider that's had some pretty good rides. This is an awesome heat race, certainly for Kyle Chisholm here, James Stewart's teammate, who's running fourth. This will be his best heat race of the season. By far,
Chisholm hoping to get a good finish here tonight. He only has 2 top 10 finishes this season. 9th in Anaheim, 3, and an 8th in Jacksonville.
And I really do get the sense, Ralph, that the track at the moment is pretty one-line. Watch the wheel spin right here. They get out of that rut and then just light it up. Their tire just spins as they exit turn 1. Track still kind of a one-line situation. You can see Chisholm and Bowers just really following. And that's Bonnie just behind him.
Yep, that's Bonnie on the 54, the Rockstar Hardin Huntington back Honda.
And as we go through these qualifying races in the LCQ and there's more riders on the track, it's going to open up more lines. But I think in the main event, this track's going to be ready to race.
Could be good. And we expect a good battle for that championship points lead here tonight between Reed and Stewart.
Look at Bowers. He's really closing up on the back of the factory Honda rider, Ivan Tedesco, as he gets the pressure from Chisholm and Bonnie.
And Bowers has not broken into the top 10 in the main event yet this year. A pair of 14ths, but that's it. These are in Daytona and New Orleans.
And Bowers picked up by the Moto Concepts Honda team a few races in.
Top 9 transfer to the main. Those are the names in green across the top of the screen in our Air Force running order at the top, and one of those riders now is Kevin Windham, who has built his way back up to 9th. So he's, after leading and crashing, he's back to a transfer position.
Certainly a tough way to make it to the main event.
Oh, man.
Well, especially when it starts out so great, when you have the lead and then you give it up. Oh.
Battle for 3rd place and 2nd, really, because they're right with Ivan Tedesco, not that far in front of him. Tedesco, Bowers, Chisholm, and Bonnie.
Bonnie's worked his way past Chisholm here. One better gate pick. As we see the white flag come out, you get the feeling that Matt Bonnie, he's not done yet. Bowers has got the 3rd position.
And Stewart is about 10 seconds in front of these guys. And here's Windham. Watch Windham charging through the whoops.
Wow, he really did have a head of speed there, head of steam, and just really drove past Marzak. That's going to give him 8th position now.
Coming to the checkered flag, James Stewart on his way. This is the 16th round of the 2009 series, and so far, James has won a heat race every week but one. That's impressive.
There's no doubt James Stewart, he can fly.
Here he comes. James Stewart takes the win. His 15th of the 2009 championship season. CBS Sports Spectacular presents the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Series, sponsored by Toyota. Moving forward. Monster Energy, unleash the beast. And by Honda, world leader in power sports. When you want the best, it's a Honda. Welcome back to Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. We're here on the campus of the University of Utah, Rice Eccles Stadium. Here's our Toyota results from heat number 2. Top 9, as we said, transfer straight to the main. And Josh Grant just comes up short. It's such a great start to this heat. And he will go to the last chance qualifier for a final shot at making the main. Well, there's still some racing yet to go this season. Here's our Toyota moving forward schedule. We're on to Las Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium. That's where the season finale will take place. The same day of the season finale, you will see a season review show right here on CBS, 1 o'clock Eastern. If you want tickets for the race in Vegas, go to www.supercrossonline.com. Let's take a look at our Air Force highlights in heat number 1. First look of the night at Chad Reed, two-time and reigning champion. Pressure on in the first corner. Jeffy locks up that rear wheel.
Manages to steal the whole shot. This is our first opportunity to see how this wet racetrack was going to shape up, and it was very interesting as you see Davi Millsaps lose the front end as he was pressuring Chad Reed for the lead.
But Reed had problems too. You see him banging on the handlebars, and here comes Millsaps back around his teammate Andrew Short to get himself back to second. Millsaps having a great heat race as he comes charging back, but not close enough as Reed takes the win. Here's a look at the Honda results from heat number 1. They would all go on to the main except for Billy Laninovich, who goes to the last chance qualifier. Before the racing got underway, the pit party was the place to be here in Utah.
You know I'm here for the party, and I ain't leaving till they throw me out. Gonna have a little fun, give me some. You know I'm here. I'm here for the
For up-to-the-minute sports news, real-time scores, outspoken riders, exclusive video highlights from this race, and award-winning fantasy sports, go to cbssports.com. Pretty shot of the beautiful state capitol here in Salt Lake City. The governor here, Governor Huntsman, a big fan of motorcycling, an avid motorcyclist himself. There he is. And on Friday night, he hosted the Supercross industry at the governor's mansion. Great night of festivities. Ryan Villopoto was there, the Factory Kawasaki rider, and Andrew Short got a tour of the governor's mansion as well. And our Aaron Bates has caught up with the governor.
Well, we're joined by a very special guest this evening here at the Rice Eccles Stadium. He happens to be an avid motorcycle enthusiast himself, the Governor of Utah, Governor John Huntsman. Governor, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. You, along with the Utah Sports Commission, have been an instrumental part in bringing the Supercross back to Salt Lake City. How did this all happen?
Well, this is the state of sport, Utah, and it's really the premier action sport destination in the United States. And all combined, not to mention a very enthusiastic fan base, led us to work very hard with all of the components of Supercross to finally bring it back after 5 years hiatus. And so we're very excited as a state. It really solidifies us as a summer and winter sports destination for action sports. And we're thrilled to death. We're very excited.
We're very excited to be back now. I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you're a politician, but there's a championship on the line. Who's it going to be, James Stewart or Chad Reed?
Oh, yeah, you're asking a politician to make a fool of himself on national TV. May the best person win. They are both outstanding riders. I like them both, and all I can say is this has brought the sport of Supercross to a new height to have riders of this caliber. James Stewart is going to be a hard one to beat. He's a machine out here right now, as it has been all season. So it'll be a very good race tonight.
Governor Huntsman, thank you very much for being here. You heard it first. He's not going to give up who he thinks it's going to be.
Billy, you're the candidate.
Smart man, the governor. Yeah, they're both very talented. Of course, here's a look at the last chance qualifier highlights. 3 big names in this one: Josh Grant, Mike Alessi, and Nathan Ramsey. And the 3 of them got together in the first corner while Robbie Canary snuck away with the whole shot.
It definitely was going to be a hard battle here for Grant, and you see him working his way back past Canary for the final transfer position.
And Mike Alessi, for the first time this year, does not make it to the main event, while Billy Laninovich does, as he takes the win. As you take a look at our Yamaha results page, Laninovich and Grant go on. Everybody else to the grandstands. We'll be back after this message and a word from your local station. was the first time for Ryan Villopoto as he picked up his career first win at his home race a week ago in Seattle, Washington. Hi, everybody. Ralph Sheen, Jeff Emig with you as we get ready for the main event here in Salt Lake City. James Stewart, Chad Reed, 3 points separating him, and a great racetrack tonight, Jeff.
Well, it's a very challenging racetrack, and as we've seen, it can reach up and bite the guys. I'm telling you, it could be a night for somebody like Millsaps, to get up there, spoil the party, but you got to think that our championship contenders, Stewart and Reed, stuck in this tug of war. They've got that #1 plate. Reed has it from last year. Stewart's trying to take it back. This is going to be a defining race here tonight.
And they both won championships in the past. They know what it means to have that #1 plate. Salt Lake City, high elevation, high intensity, championships on the line. Welcome back to Salt Lake City, Utah, Eccles Stadium. Here's our MMI race reset. 20 riders in our main event. It's a 20-lap race. Chad Reed and James Stewart, they can't get away from each other. The two title combatants both won their heats earlier tonight. Stewart was the fastest qualifier. Now, there hasn't been a race here in Salt Lake City since 2004. Kevin Windham, who was in the main event, won that event back then. Jeff, this track that we have here, not necessarily the most unique layout, but boy, it has been great for racing.
There has been some action, and that's from Mother Nature dumping tons of rain down on this track. It's in pretty good shape, but as we've seen, out of the third turn, through that first set of whoops, a couple of the sections are very slippery. The first turn area is going to be key here, as we've seen everybody kind of fly past. You see just how long a start straight. You really get a chance to get up into third, fourth gear, and then you got to get on the brakes into the first turn. This could be where the championship could be won or lost here tonight.
An advantage on the inside or the outside of the starting gate as you take a look at Chad Reed, his mechanic, Mike Gossler, right behind him.
Well, I don't think that there's an advantage necessarily going down the start straight. We've seen the outside sweep around, but if you get on the brakes, you don't have to be the first into the first turn to be the first out as the guys with all the momentum sweep wide.
And you see Oscar Verdman working with James Stewart, and goggles a big thing here tonight, Aaron.
Well, you guys, goggles are a huge issue during a mud race. For example, my dear friend assistant Jackie, she's taking one for the team tonight, but this is how the goggle tear-off works. Tear it off, you've got some clean vision, you're ready to go, you're ready to race, and this is exactly what the Scott tear-offs do on these Scott goggles. We appreciate
Very
Jackie
nice,
for hard work
Jackie.
today.
That really is taking one for the team. Anything to improve the quality of the broadcast.
Well, and what's even worse is when that roost and that mud that Jackie's showing us here comes off of the back of one of these 450 four-stroke machines at a pretty high rate of speed. It hurts.
There's the board that says it's main event time. And the 30-second board is up as well.
That's what it all comes down to, Ralph. 40 laps left in the championship. 2 main events, 25 points for the winner tonight. Chad Reed needs a win. James Stewart can pad his points lead. This could be it.
Here's our monster starting grid across the top of your screen. The main event from Salt Lake City, the penultimate round underway. Chad Reed gets a very good start, but he won't get the whole shot. Yes, he will. He cuts back to the inside. Reed gets the whole shot. Stewart back in about 5th position. Reed needs to break away now.
And Millsaps, who has been so fast tonight, he starts second. And then Stewart comes around the
Here
outside.
comes Stewart. He's going to move himself into second. So the championship race is on. The Rockstar Makita Suzuki and Chad Reed in the early lead. The San Manuel Yamaha, James Stewart in second. And look at Stewart just blitz across the whoops.
And this is the opportunity for Chad Reed to go out and win a main event, which he so desperately needs, over James Stewart. This is it. This is the defining moment of the championship. Reed takes a look back, realizes number 7 is there. The race is on.
Over the finish line jump. Reed setting himself up as they shoot across the start line.
And remember, so many of these turns, Ralph, like right here, look how you leave the inside wide open. Stewart will have the advantage of being able to see that as Reed rides the fast line.
Jeff, 2 weeks ago in Jacksonville, Florida, it was this very same scenario. These two riders had words during practice, had a very aggressive race when they battled back and forth in the main event, and the words continued after up on the podium. They ran 1 and 2 just like this for many, many laps. It looks like we're setting up the same scenario here tonight.
And James Stewart has got a different sequence. He's got a double, triple, double. That's a little bit quicker than Reed going a single, double, triple, single. That could be the spot at the end of the stadium. And watch this fast line. Inside is wide open right here. You see Stewart square down. He has the advantage there. See just how slippery some of those spots are.
Jeff, it is also a very cool night here. The temperature down into the 40s. One of the coolest nights we've seen on the season so far. The Suzuki of Chad Reed running the fuel injection. The Yamaha is a incorporated model. How different will that affect this outcome for these two riders?
Well, I talked to a few of the mechanics earlier, and I think with the fuel-injected bikes, they would get to their good setting much quicker. The race teams that have the carbureted bikes, there's no doubt in my mind that they've got there, and this bike is finely tuned, but it might have just taken a little more work to get there. Performance-wise, I think at this point, both bikes are running excellent.
Do these conditions on the track surface give an advantage to either one of these two riders? You've ridden with both. There's Mike Gosler cheering on his man, Chad Reed.
Well, I think the experience now is Chad Reed. Can he rebound from that horrible race last week? Also the race in Jacksonville where he led most of the main event, only to have James Stewart battle with him, pass him, and take the win. This is a defining moment for Chad Reed. I've said all along that I believe that he has to beat James Stewart straight up to win the championship. He had an opportunity at Jacksonville. He failed. But did he learn something? Did that motivate him? Can he apply that to the main event here tonight?
Well, Reed has won 3 races this year, Indianapolis, Daytona, and St. Louis, but Stewart had problems in all 3 of those rounds, and that's what opened the door for Reed to take the win. In a heads-up battle with Stewart having no issues, Reed has not been the victor yet this season, and now Stewart's starting to apply some pressure.
Well, Stewart completed that rhythm section at the end, made a mistake, and still closed it up. You really feel that James Stewart now starting to drop the hammer. He's seen the lines on the track. I can see it from the broadcast booth here that the spot after the finish line, that right-hand turn onto the start straight, is the perfect position, perfect spot for Stewart to make an attempt at the lead.
Last week, Reed crashed on the first corner, battled back to finish 7th in Seattle. Stewart fought his way up to 2nd while Villopoto took the win. And look at this. Here comes Stewart
Here
to the
comes the rhythm
inside.
section.
He's going to make that move. He changes his line to the rhythm section, and Stewart takes the lead away from Reed. But Reed comes battling back. Barn to barn, through another rhythm section. Reed to the inside, stands him out, and takes the lead away.
Watch this inside. Stewart gets back in line. We are being treated to another phenomenal main event in AMA Supercross.
It is a chess match played out by 2 former champions on these high-horsepowered machines.
And as we saw in Jacksonville, this type of racing, they played it pretty clean. After that, there were tons of words spoken. I don't look for it to be clean. It's going to get nasty here in Salt Lake.
Well, everything is on the line because there's only one more race to go in Vegas a week from tonight. So who's going to have the advantage going into there? A stadium where the surface tends to be slippery. So these guys want to have as many points in their favor going there if they can.
Chad Reed picks up on the rhythm section. Double, triple, double. That's going to take one of Reed's passing spots.
Well, did Stewart maybe play the card too soon because now Reed knows the line?
Watch the inside right here. Nope, not yet.
He's going to have to save one move for late.
That is going to be a very hard corner for Chad Reed to protect if he is in the lead. But look at James Stewart, such a predator. He just thrives on this type of action. When his heart rate gets up,
Here he
to
comes.
the inside.
Puts it through the loops. Stewart was there, but Reed just beat him by half a bike length to shut the door. You know, I talked to James earlier today, Jeff. He finished 2nd and didn't chase Villopoto down like we've seen him do in the past. And I asked him, did you really settle for 2nd? He said, you know, people don't really realize that I run so hard. I want to win every time. He said, that was okay. I'm ready to go. And they think that sometimes I push too hard. They just don't realize how fast I truly do ride because he believes he's so much faster than everybody else. But he also told me today, Jeff, that he feels Chad Reed is quite possibly the toughest man he's ever had to battle for a championship.
There's no doubt about it here. Once again, we see two of the sport's greatest champions putting on it. Riding.
Here he comes to the inside. Into the whoops. And again, Reed beats him to the other end, barely.
Wow, this is gonna, it is so comforting to be in the second position here, Ralph, because you get to see the lines, you get to try different sections. Of course, you don't have to lead, but look at Stewart to the inside.
But Jeff, I gotta tell you, Stewart has always been one of the best riders in the sport through the whoops, and Reed keeps beating him through the whoops tonight.
Stewart can fly across the top of those whoops. I'm telling you, look how close he is.
Here he comes.
Look to the inside.
Look into the inside. Nothing doing. Over
Here he
the
goes,
finish line to
inside.
jump. To the inside. Stewart is there. And Reed has to take second. And the crowd cheers as they swap the lead once again. Reed back to the inside. Oh, contact. And Stewart's into the tough block. Oh, it's starting to heat up now.
What an aggressive move by Chad Reed. As Stewart made the pass, Chad sees the door wide open. Reed jumps to the inside, makes a good aggressive move there. Stewart masterfully keeps it on two wheels, but that is going to fire up James Stewart. You know this race is not over. He is not going to give up.
Jeff, you told me just before they dropped the gate that you said I really need to see a spark in Chad Reed's eyes. You seen it now?
I have definitely seen a spark in Chad Reed. He is really playing this out. He is not giving up.
Watch how these two battle as we go back and take a look at the replay.
Watch here, Stewart gets inside, and watch, he's down on some tacky dirt right there, and he sees this wide open. Look how he scrubs that finish line and really made up the ground there. Reed comes back. This is out of the first turn. Watch this. Fast line outside. Reed just gets in there, and hammers the throttle, and look at Stewart, how he hits the tough block with his front wheel and gets it back in.
Well, they made contact in that corner too, and that shoved James up there. A slower rider right in the way, and Reed, Jeff, is starting to open up a gap. And look at this. The points would be tied as of now because the difference between first and second is 3, and that's the gap as they came into tonight.
Would you expect anything less from these champions?
No.
No. The work that goes into this, the dedication, what is on the line for both of these riders. Okay, this is the pinnacle of our sport. Okay, lots of money, lots of pride, all that hard work. These riders are really putting on a great race here in Salt Lake.
And Jeff, both of these riders are Hall of Fame caliber riders without question. It's just a matter of what your stats are going to be when you get there. And Reed and Stewart are looking to add another championship to their total. Mike Gosler, he doesn't know what to do. He's hoping his man Reed can win tonight. Back to an action-packed Rice Eccles Stadium here in Salt Lake. Ralph Shaheen, Jeff Emig, and Aaron Bates with you as the crowd is on their feet, watching Chad Reed and James Stewart battle it out in the penultimate round on the Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship.
Halfway through the main event, it seems like they've already been out there for 50 laps. We still have half the race to go. 9 laps. This is where Chad Reed gets a little breather. This is where James Stewart sets back for a second, gets his heart rate down, regroups, makes another run at the reigning champion to try to steal that #1 plate away from Chad Reed.
And Jeff, one thing they're seeing a lot of is that yellow flags and blue flags. That means they're getting into traffic, they're getting into situations where riders have crashed, and they have to hope that those in front of them that they're getting ready to pass know that the fast guys are coming through. And in talking to James Stewart's dad, Big James, he says sometimes one of the problems is that the slower riders are not used to the closing speeds of riders like James Stewart and Chad Reed because they're so much faster.
There's no doubt about that, and they're working their way up to Glenhinovich. He's running 16th. You see, he pulls out of the way there.
Watch James Stewart dealing with traffic.
Pretty tight shot here, and he gets in, and that's, well, he
Tough
clips
block
that
and he
tough
kicked it
block.
away.
Looks like that was one of the Hart and Huntington riders. But look at this, James Stewart, once again, the Predator on the prowl here. He has reeled in Chad Reed.
He's right there.
And there's certain things that James does on the track, certain areas where he just carries so much momentum.
Here he
like
comes.
the whoops.
Into the whoops. And Reed sees him square to the inside. Stewart back out front with 8 to go. Now can Reed challenge back?
See them riders, they missed that. That's a double triple. They're having trouble getting over the middle triple there. Let's see if Chad Reed has anything left here, because James Stewart had the chance to regroup, and he has really got some great lines.
You see how low James Stewart comes over that finish line jump as Oscar Bergman cheers on his rider, doing what he's been known and called the Bubba Scrub. Staying low, flying forward, staying closer to the ground. It's a quicker line, and it works.
Well, in this championship, it really comes down to this. Chad Reed has to win here tonight in Salt Lake. That would tie up the points going into the final race for James Stewart. If he walks away from this with the win and Reed is second, that's going to be a 6-point margin.
It's not enough to clinch it tonight, but it certainly would put a big hurt on the championship hopes
There's some
of
lappers.
Chad Reed. Now, there's a lot of lap riders in here, and it could hurt both of these riders.
Look at Stewart just really whipping it over the triple. This is Boss gets in there, and he almost gets into the top side there, and that's allowed Chad Reed to close right up again. Is this the last, gasp here that Chad Reed? This gives him the opportunity to look at Stewart's line, to see his body language on the bike, and gain some confidence by his own fast laps.
Their lap time's just a 1/10 of a second apart. That makes a huge mistake, and Reed almost capitalized. He had to get on the brakes to keep from running into him.
And that's Stewart's teammate, Kyle Chisholm.
And Chisholm almost gets into Reed, and instead he goes down.
Wow, Kyle Chisholm on the Sam Manuel Yamaha. That looked pretty aggressive from this
It
seat.
looked awful aggressive for a rider who was being lapped. Trying to help out a teammate,
An old friend.
is that the way you see it?
Well, bottom line is that Reed lost quite a bit of time right there.
Huge amount of time.
That's
Tried
given.
1.7
Watch this here. Watch.
seconds.
Chisholm steps off and just comes to, he almost gets into his teammate. Has to really get on the binders to keep from knocking Reed completely off the track.
Jeff, whether or not he was trying to get into Reed isn't even the point. At this stage of the game, with the 2 leaders by like that, there's no business going that hard into that corner with the 2 leaders in front of you.
One would think. Well, it certainly has given Stewart a comfort zone here, and this could be.
That could be the championship.
That totally could be the championship. Now they're coming past Chisholm one more time.
Boy, to see the championship come down to a moment like that, that would be incredibly devastating. And not the way I think James Stewart would want to win it either.
Reed just looked over at Chisholm, shook his head, a little attitude there.
Can't blame it. Cannot blame it.
Well, boy, that really has mellowed out this main event. We'll see with 4 laps to go. There's the difference. 2.5 seconds between Stewart and Reed. Can Reed regroup here? Little less than 4 laps to go and let it all hang out, because he needs to win this main event.
Now,
If not, he's going to have to hope for the best.
Did you see the difference there, Jeff? That rider was getting lapped, waited, saw both riders go by, knew the championship was coming through, and then returned to the racetrack.
Well, what a fine ride right
That
now.
was Kyle Partridge.
Fine ride by Stewart. He has once again came through the pack, proven to everyone here in Salt Lake that he is the fastest rider in AMA Supercross this year.
Yes, he is, but Jeff, tonight we saw a different Chad Reed, an aggressive Chad Reed. One of the best rides we've seen out of him all year. And incredible, and I just hate to see him lose his shot at Stewart here tonight based on a moment like that. Because again, I don't think even James Stewart would want to see this championship, the way it's gone all year, come down to a moment like that.
Little less than 3 laps to go. Stewart actually picked up 0.4 of a second on Chad Reed that last lap. The lead is almost 9 seconds.
Aaron, an amazing night here tonight.
It most definitely is, guys. Well, tempers are flaring between Chad Reed and James Stewart. James Stewart's teammate, Kyle Chisholm, just got pulled off the racetrack. He's over in mechanics area right now by John Gallagher with the FIM. He's obviously pretty upset. He's driving back to the pits, but something tells me he knows exactly what he got in trouble for.
John Gallagher is the official for the FIM, one of the ruling bodies of the Supercross series, the AMA and the FIM.
Well, and it's very uncharacteristic of Kyle Chisholm to do something like that. He's a pretty mellow, has a pretty mellow demeanor, very nice young man. Could be just a mistake he made trying to go on off that tabletop with too much momentum, because as we see, he almost got into the back wheel of his own teammate, ended up just between our two leaders, but that certainly has played a part in the outcome of this main event.
You're right on both counts.
Well,
James Stewart, on his way, and he can hang on to racking up another win. This would be main event win number 11.
And no rider has ever won more than 10 races and not won the championship.
And he'd have to get through Las Vegas. Next week, Sam Boyd Stadium. He might become a two-time champion. Oscar cheering him on with one to go. Buddy, bring it home.
How about this ride here by James Stewart? Take a look at the points here around 6. That is not what Chad Reed wanted coming or leaving Salt Lake. He wanted that number to be 0.
Yeah, and he was giving it a run tonight for sure. But Stewart, you know, you got to give him all the credit in the world, Jeff. And he got not a great start when Reed gets out to the front with the whole shot. But he battled back. He was patient. He marched to the front. When he got there, he challenged Reed, took the lead, lost it, waited, patiently regrouped, and then set his sights on him, lined him up, and went after him again. And James Stewart,
here we go. James Stewart takes a look over his shoulder. He is going to be the main event winner here in Salt Lake.
James Stewart wins it, lights the candles in Salt Lake City, and extends his points lead to 6, headed to the final round. And Chad Reed has to finish a frustrating second and sees 3 more points slip away to his title rival. What a main event here in Eccles Stadium.
Very frustrated champion here, Chad Reed, talking with his mechanic, Mike Gosler, shaking his head.
He gave it everything tonight.
Pretty sure I know what they're talking about, but Chad Reed, an incredible ride, just came up 3.7 seconds short.
But all the credit to that man, James Stewart. No matter what happened with Kyle Chisholm, it's Stewart who is the fastest man here tonight to the checkers. Sports Spectacular presents the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Series, sponsored by the 2009 Suzuki fuel-injected RMZ 450. Let it rain. Toyota, moving forward. And by Yamaha. Nobody's more in tune with motorsports than Yamaha. Welcome back to Salt Lake City. Wow, what a main event here tonight at Eccles Stadium. There's John Gallagher right there. That's the official from the FIM talking things over with Chad Reed, Mike Gosler to Reed's right, his mechanic, and Roger DeCoster, nicknamed the Man because of the great rider he was in motocross competition. He is the team manager for the factory Suzuki team. Here's our Suzuki results page. Davi Millsaps, the Red Bull Honda rider with a great run. Ryan Villopoto, last week's winner, another top 5 finish for him. And Andrew Short, 3rd in the championship, another consistent night. He finishes in the top 5 as well. But the story, Jeff, is going to be a little bit deeper here tonight in our finishing order of the top 20, because 20th was where Kyle Chisholm is going to finish, and he's going to be a big part of this story here tonight. Let's go to Aaron.
James Stewart thrives on an aggressive ride such as this one tonight. James, what a race it was between you and Chad Reed. 6-point lead heading into Las Vegas. Where does the confidence lie now?
Well, I mean, I still got a long ways to go. It feels good to get the win. I was able to get my Samuel Yamaha out front, Red Bull, Bell Helmets, Alpine Star, Nike, everybody, and it was a tough race. I knew once I passed him he was going to try to come in and clean me out, and I just think that's his ammo. So, it's a good ride for me. I was able to get the win, and, just got to be smart and go to Vegas.
A good battle taking place between the two of you. But speaking of which being taken out, your teammate, Kyle Chisholm, the number 38, he got black flagged. Did you see or witness what went on between him and Chad Reed?
No, I didn't. I passed Kyle. He let me by. And the next thing I know, I looked over at triple and he was down. I don't know what happened. I'll get back to the pits to find out. But, you know, it's one of those deals. You know, we don't race like that. But, you know, I don't see what the problem is. You know, I passed him clean, and, you know, we're trying to ride hard. But, hey, you know what? Got that Samuel Yamaha front, and I was able to win tonight.
Well, as James said, it's not over yet. 6 points difference going into Vegas. Certainly, it'll be a good night there, too. And here's what the moment is that everybody's going to talk about, Jeff.
Yeah, and you see it as Chisholm gets in there, and he gets on the brakes and just gets into the back of Reed, and that really gave James Stewart that little breather that he needed.
Well, let's see what Chad thinks about it, Aaron.
Well, I can tell you this much, the look of frustration is written all over his face. Chad, take us through exactly your thoughts on what took place between you and Kyle Chisholm, which was James Stewart's teammate.
Oh, I mean, Chisholm, who's that guy, you know? And I just got out there. I'm so happy for the team. We made some great changes today. We thought it was going to be a lot muddier, and we kind of missed that setting in the practice run. And came out, got 2 hole shots tonight, and rode strong. I felt like I was in a good position. You know, I made a pass, and he came back around, and I felt like I was just sitting there. You know, track was real slick, and I was just kind of watching his lines. He had a couple of better lines, and then I felt good. And you know, whatever happened between Chisholm is whatever. You know, everybody will see it on TV, and all I got to say is I got one of the best teammates out there. You know, he's a great starter, and that's how they want to play the game. Let's bring it on.
Oh, Las Vegas, 1 week from today. I can't wait to get there. Sam Boyd Stadium, 6 points the difference between James Stewart and Chad Reed, and the 2009 championship on the line. It's going to be spectacular, Aaron.
2 weeks in a row for Davi Millsaps. He makes his way up to the podium. Davey, what is it that you've changed in your program that suddenly you're so successful?
I don't know. I'm just trying a lot harder, you know, last couple weekends, and I couldn't do it without a Honda Red Bull Racing. My mechanic, Carlos, my trainer, you know, my fiance, One Industries, and I want to say happy birthday to Madison Louch.
CBS Sports coverage of Monster Energy AMA Supercross wraps up next Sunday at 1 Eastern with the Year in Review show. Coming up next, CBS Sports takes you to the Westin Savannah Harbor Resort for the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf. And then at 3, it's final round coverage of the Zurich Classic of New Orleans from the TPC Louisiana. For Jeff Emig and Aaron Bates, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Salt Lake City, where James Stewart is your winner.
As the sun goes down in front of me, reminds me of where I wanna be.